The alien scout fleet drifted into the dark region that pilots hated to name. They called it the dead zone because even old radios found nothing there. No music, no static, no small noise from distant stars. Just empty space and a quiet that felt too heavy. Captain Varric stood on the bridge of the lead ship and watched the screens. His crew spoke in low voices, like loud sound could wake something up. A sensor officer raised a hand and said the background signal was dropping again. Varric frowned because space always had some noise, even if it was weak. Here it was falling towards zero, like the universe itself was holding its breath. The fleet was not large, 5 ships, fast and sharp, made to look first and run. They were here because 3 trade vessels had gone missing near this region. The High Council wanted answers, and they wanted them fast. Varric did not like the job, but he liked fear even less. So he kept his face calm and his voice steady. "Keep wide spacing," he told them. "Do not cluster, do not chase strange lights, do not switch off your lights." The crew obeyed, and the ships moved like careful fish in black water. Minutes passed, then more minutes, and nothing happened. That was the problem. Nothing should feel this loud. Then the far-right scout ship blinked once on the fleet map. Not an alarm, not a damage warning, just a simple blink. A second later the icon vanished. No explosion wave, no heat flash, no debris. Just gone, like a word erased from a page. Every alien on the bridge froze. Varric stared at the empty spot where the ship should be. "Call them," he said, still calm, but his fingers tightened on the rail. The comm officer sent a direct ping, then a wider broadcast. No answer. He tried again, louder, using emergency codes. No answer. The bridge lights seemed dimmer, even though they had not changed. A junior officer whispered, "Maybe a stealth mine." Another said, "Maybe a gravity tear." Varric did not like either idea, because both should leave signs. This left none. "Scan the area," Varric ordered. "Full sweep, slow and deep." The sensor screen rolled numbers, then paused, then rolled again. The officer leaned closer, his eyes wide. "Sir, there is a mass ahead," he said. Varric turned. "How large?" The officer swallowed. "Too large," he said. "It reads like a small moon, but it is not on any map." Varric felt cold under his armor. A moon did not appear where no moon should be. He stepped closer to the main display. A dark shape sat in the black, almost the same color as the void. Only a thin line of starlight showed its edge. The shape did not shine, did not glow, did not leak heat. It looked dead. Yet it was there. The fleet slowed. Varric's ships held their spacing. A weapons officer asked, "Do we lock?" Varric did not answer right away. He watched the shape. Then the shape moved, not fast, not loud, just a gentle turn. Like a sleeping animal shifting its head. As it rotated, the outline became clear. It was not a moon. It was a warship. A human warship. Every story Varric had heard about humans came back at once. Humans fought hard, humans survived impossible storms, humans built ships like moving fortresses. But this ship was different from the human designs he had seen. It looked older, thick, heavy, and calm. Its hull was dark and worn, and yet it held itself like a king in exile. No bright logos, no colorful lights, no proud signals. Only one slow rotation and then stillness. It was waiting. "Send a standard greeting," Varric said. "Safe passage request, neutral tone." The comm officer sent it. Nothing came back. "Send again," Varric said. This time with trade codes, then with formal military codes. Still nothing. The bridge filled with a new kind of fear. It was not the fear of attack. It was the fear of being ignored. A predator did not ignore prey unless it was not prey at all. A sensor beep sounded, short and sharp. "Sir," the officer said, "our scanners just went blind for 1 second." Varric's eyes snapped to the screen. The log showed a clean drop to 0 data, then an instant return. No error message, no damage, no overload. Just a perfect cut, like someone had switched the universe off and on. Then the human ship was closer. Not much closer, but closer than it should be. No engine flare had been seen. No wake. No heat trail. It had moved without showing how. Varric leaned in, trying to keep his voice even. "Do they want to talk?" he asked. No one answered him, because no one knew. The weapons officer tried to lock a targeting beam on the human hull. His console blinked red. "Lock failed," he said. He tried again. Lock failed. He changed angles, shifted frequency, forced a manual link. Nothing worked. The officer's hands started to shake. "Sir, it is like the ship is not there," he whispered. "But it is there." Another beep, from a different station. The tech officer looked pale. "Captain, our internal records are being accessed," he said. Varric turned slowly. "By who?" The tech officer did not look up. "By something outside," he said. "It is reading our mission files, our personal logs, even our private channels." He paused, swallowing hard. "It is not breaking in," he added. "It is just walking in." Varric felt anger rise, because anger was easier than fear. "Block it," he ordered. "Cut all external links." The officer did it. For 1 second, the bridge screens flickered again. Then all the blocks reset by themselves, neatly, politely, like a teacher fixing a child's mistake. The human warship stayed silent. It did not fire. It did not chase. It did not threaten. But the whole alien bridge felt smaller under its shadow. Varric took a slow breath. "Bring shields to full," he said. "Prepare weapons, but do not fire unless I say." The alien fleet formed a cautious arc. 5 ships aiming at one dark giant. It should have looked strong. Instead it looked like 5 sparks pointed at a mountain. Then the human ship did one small thing. A single light turned on near its front. One white point in the black, steady and cold. It was not a signal lamp, not a beacon, not a friendly flash. It looked like an eye opening in the dark. The alien bridge went silent. Even the nervous breathing stopped. Varric stared at that one light. And he understood the name of this place at last. Not dead zone. Not empty space. It was a warning. "Captain," the comm officer whispered. "There is an incoming message." Varric's heart hit hard once. "Play it," he said. But before the message could start, every screen on the bridge went black again, for one single breath, and the white eye on the human ship brightened, as if it had just noticed them back. The bridge screens stayed black just long enough to make the crew feel blind. Then the lights returned, not with error marks or warning lines, but clean, as if nothing happened. The white point on the human ship still shone, steady, cold, watching. The comm officer looked down at his console like it might bite him. "Message is still incoming," he said, voice thin. "It is not words yet, it is a pattern." A soft sound filled the bridge speakers. Not a voice, not music, more like a slow knock. 3 beats, pause, 2 beats, pause, 1 long beat. The pattern repeated, always the same. Varric felt his neck hairs rise under his collar. The sound was simple, but it felt planned, like a code made by someone who expected fear. "Translate it," Varric said. The officer tried, but the system gave no match. The pattern was not in trade language, not in military form, not in old warning codes. It was only a rhythm. The weapons officer spoke, trying to sound strong. "They are mocking us," he said. "They want us to blink first." Varric did not answer. He watched the human ship with a hard face and a careful mind. It was not moving. It was not heating. It was only there, bigger than a city, quiet like a grave. On the far display, a new alert flashed. The tech officer looked at it and swallowed. "Captain, it is still inside our systems," he said. "It is reading our logs again." Varric stepped closer. "After we cut the links." "Yes," the officer said. "It acts like the link is not a door, it acts like the link is air." A junior crew member whispered, "How?" No one answered, because no one had a safe answer. Varric turned to the comm officer. "Send one clear line," he said. "Identify yourself, state your intent." The comm officer sent it, then waited. The bridge held its breath. The human ship did not speak with words. Instead, the knocking pattern stopped. For a moment, there was nothing. Then a new sound came, a low pulse, like a single deep note. It lasted 1 second, then stopped. After that, the bridge speakers stayed silent again. The sensor officer spoke fast. "Captain, that pulse matched our ship clock," he said. "It hit exactly on the second mark." Varek narrowed his eyes. "What does that mean?" The officer shook his head. "It means they can see our time," he said. "It means they are synced to us." That was not comfort. That was control. The weapons officer tried to lock again. He changed settings, used a narrow beam, tried old manual aim. Every time the lock bar rose, it broke, clean and quick. Like a hand snapping a thin stick. "Captain," the weapons officer said, voice tight. "We cannot hold a lock, not even for a breath." Varek felt the weight of his crew behind him. 5 ships, 1 missing, for still alive. He had to show them he had a plan, even if the plan was only calm. "Do not fire," he said. "We learn first." The weapons officer did not like that. His pride wanted action. His fear wanted noise. "Captain," the officer insisted. "If it is a trap, silence will kill us." Varek turned slowly. "If we fire blind, we die faster," he said. His voice stayed steady. But inside, his thoughts moved fast. This human ship had already taken a scout ship without sound. That meant it could kill without warning. If it had wanted to kill the rest, it would have done it already. So why wait? A new alert came from engineering. The engine chief spoke through the intercom. "Captain, our reactors just dipped," he said. "Not a failure, not a leak, it is like someone tapped the power and let go." Varek stiffened. "Can you prove it was external?" "Yes," the chief said. "It was too clean, too exact. The human ship was touching them without touching them. That was the truth." Varek made a choice, a small one, but dangerous. He raised a hand. "Prepare a single test shot," he said. "Low power, no missiles, no burst, 1 clean beam." The weapons officer's eyes flashed with relief. Finally, something to do. He set the beam to a level that would mark a hull but not rip a ship apart. "Firing in 3, the officer said. 2. 1. A thin line of light jumped from the alien ship toward the human warship. It hit the dark hull. And nothing happened. No spark, no burn mark, no flare, no wobble. The beam did not even splash. It ended like it had reached the edge of a shadow and vanished. The whole bridge went still. Even the weapons officer did not speak. Because this was not a shield, they understood. This was not armor. It was like the shot had never been fired. The sensor officer whispered. "It ate the beam," he said. Varek did not correct him. Because it felt true. Then the white light on the human ship dimmed slightly. Not a warning flash, not a threat glow. More like a slow blink. And the knocking pattern returned, but changed. Now it sounded like a heartbeat, slow and heavy. The comm officer's console beeped again. This time the screen showed symbols. Not alien symbols, not human letters either. But the software tried to shape them into meaning. And one short line appeared in broken alien script. It was not smooth, it was not polite, it was simple. "Do not do this." A chill ran through the bridge. The weapons officer looked at Varek with anger and fear mixed together. They had fired one soft beam, and the human ship had answered. Not with a blast, not with a chase. With words. Varek stared at the line on the screen. He did not like being told what to do. But he liked losing his fleet even less. He leaned closer to the comm station. "Ask them why they are here," he said. "Ask them what they want." The comm officer typed a careful question. But before he could send it, the tech officer shouted, "Captain, it is copying our combat codes." Varek snapped his head. "What?" "It is taking our weapon settings, our shield rhythms, our jump points," the tech officer said, voice breaking. It is not stealing like a thief, he added. It is learning like a hunter. The bridge felt smaller again. Varric looked at the human ship, then at the empty place where his lost scout had been. He understood something sharp and ugly. If he made one wrong move, he would not even hear the sound of his own defeat. Then the human message line changed by itself. Not typed by the alien comm officer, not requested. A second line appeared under the first. Short, colder than the first. You are not the target. And at that same moment, the sensor officer screamed, because a new fleet signature just lit up behind the human warship, massive and fast, like a storm that had been hiding inside the silence. The new fleet signature did not look like the alien scout fleet at all. It was too clean, too sharp, too many ships moving as one. The sensor screen filled with red markers like blood drops in water. 30, then 40, then more. They came fast, and they came in perfect lines. Officer Sen, the sensor lead, spoke with a dry mouth. Captain, they were hidden behind the human ship's shadow, he said. They are not using normal engines. Varric's eyes stayed on the main display. The human warship still did not move. It sat between Varric's fleet and the new arrival like a wall. And that was when Varric understood the second line. You are not the target. The target was whatever was arriving now. The new fleet sent a broadcast immediately, loud and proud. It was not a greeting, it was a command. The translation system caught enough to shape meaning. Unknown vessel, the message said. Shut down, submit, and open your hold for inspection. The words were smooth, confident, and cold. Varric knew that tone. It belonged to the Dominion, the larger empire that swallowed smaller worlds with rules and smiles. They called it inspection, but it was never peaceful. The weapons officer looked at Varric, his voice rough. Captain, the Dominion is here. He paused, then added. They did not answer the human, they answered the space around it, like they own it. The human ship did not answer at all. Not a single word. Not a signal. Not even a change in its white light. The Dominion fleet moved closer, spreading into attack shape. Their ships were sleek and bright, with glowing engine tails that made long blue scars in the dark. Compared to them, the human warship looked like a black stone in a river. Varric felt something strange in his chest. It was fear, yes. But it was also anger. Because the Dominion did not care that Varric had lost a ship. Did not care that this space felt wrong. They only cared about control. The Dominion broadcast again, louder, sharper. Unknown vessel, you will comply. The human ship stayed silent. Then something happened that made every alien on Varric's bridge go quiet. The Dominion fleet's forward line stopped, all at once. Not slowed, not drifted. Stopped. Their engine flares still burned, but the ships did not move forward. Like they had hit an invisible barrier. Sen's hands shook over the sensor board. Captain, he said, there is a field. He swallowed. It is wide, and it is smooth. His eyes flicked up. It is coming from the human ship. The Dominion commander did not understand, or did not want to. They fired a probing beam, a fast bright lash. It struck the empty space in front of them and vanished. Just like Varric's beam had vanished. The Dominion ships pulled back slightly, not from fear, but from surprise. Then the human ship did something new. Not loud, not dramatic. A thin line of pale light traced across its hull, like a seam opening. A single bay door slid apart. And a small craft drifted out. It was tiny compared to the human warship. But it moved with calm purpose, straight toward the Dominion line. Varric's comm officer blinked hard. Captain, that shuttle is broadcasting, he said. It is using a wide band, but it is quiet. Varric stared, not understanding. How can a broadcast be quiet? He asked. The comm officer pointed at the graph. It is not pushing power, he said. It is placing the signal inside the background, like a whisper under a storm. The Dominion fleet answered with a warning shot. A bright flare that should have forced the shuttle to dodge. The shuttle did not dodge. The The shot curved slightly and faded before it reached it. The Dominion commander fell silent for one beat. Then their entire fleet fired at the shuttle at once. A wall of light and heat. Every beam vanished. Not with explosions, not with shields flashing. They simply ended. As if the space itself refused to carry violence to that point. On Varek's bridge, the air felt thin. A junior officer whispered, "That should not be possible." Varek did not reply. Because he was watching the Dominion fleet carefully. He saw the change. Their ships stopped being proud. They started looking nervous. And nervous power was dangerous. The Dominion commander broadcast again, and this time there was anger in it. "Human vessel," the message snapped. "Yes, we identify you now. Submit, or we will burn this sector." The word human made Varek's crew tense. It meant the Dominion had met humans before, and it meant the Dominion was not happy about it. Varek leaned closer to the sensor display. The human shuttle was almost at the Dominion front line, still unarmed, still calm. Then the human warship's white light dimmed, like an eyelid lowering, and a new message appeared on Varek's comm screen without his officer typing anything. It was short, broken, but clear. "This is not your space." The Dominion commander replied instantly, "It will be." Varek felt a sharp chill. Because the Dominion did not bluff unless it believed it could win. And they had enough ships to crush Varek's four remaining scouts like dust. The weapons officer turned to Varek again. "We should jump," he said. "Now, before they notice us." Varek wanted to agree. But his eyes returned to the empty spot where his lost scout had been. He could still see it in his mind. A ship erased without sound. If they ran now, the Dominion would take this place, learn this silence, and use it. Then the next fleets that vanished would be more than scouts. "Hold," Varek said. His voice was low, but it carried weight. "Do not make noise." The weapons officer frowned. "Captain, what does noise mean?" Varek did not know, not fully. But he felt it now. Every engine flare, every wide broadcast, every weapon lock. It was like shouting in a cave. And this place hated shouting. The Dominion fleet began to charge a heavy weapon. Sen saw it first. "Captain," he said, voice breaking. "They are building a sector lance." Varek knew that weapon. A beam designed to rip through multiple ships and keep going. It was not a warning tool. It was a statement. The human warship remained silent. But the field in front of the Dominion ships thickened on sensors. A clean curve, a smooth wall. And the Dominion's charge started to wobble. As if the energy had nowhere to sit, nowhere to grow. The Dominion commander screamed a new order across open space. "Switch to brute fire. Flood it. Overload the area." The Dominion ships began firing in wide, messy bursts, not aiming, just pouring violence into the dark. Varek's bridge lights flickered as stray energy washed nearby. His shields flared once, just once. He felt the ship shudder. Then the human warship finally moved. Not with a roar. Not with a bright engine tail. It simply shifted position, smoothly, like a thought changing direction. It placed itself between Varek's fleet and the Dominion's flood. And the flood stopped reaching them. In that moment, Varek realized something that made his stomach drop. The human ship was protecting them. Not because it cared about aliens. But because the human ship did not want the Dominion to have witnesses removed too early. Or worse, because it needed them for something. The comm officer gasped. "Captain, I'm receiving a direct channel," he said. "It is from the shuttle." A video window opened on the main screen by itself. The image was grainy, but clear enough. A human appeared, not in armor, not in a fancy uniform. Just a dark jacket, tired eyes, and a calm face that looked like it had seen too much. He spoke slowly, using basic words. As if he knew fear made language harder. "Alien captain," the human said. "You are in a quiet trap. You survived because you did not scream." Varek's throat felt dry. "What is this place?" he asked. His voice came out rough. The human held eye contact through the screen. "This zone is a lock," he said. "It was built to stop hunters." Varek blinked. "Hunters." The human's face did not change, but his eyes hardened. "The Dominion is not the only fleet coming," he said. "They followed your missing ships. They followed the noise." He paused, then said the next line like a heavy stone dropping. "And the real hunters follow silence." Before Varek could ask what that meant, Sen shouted again. "Captain, new contacts." His hands moved fast, almost shaking apart. "They are not Dominion," he said. "They are coming from inside the dead zone." Varek looked at the sensor map and saw shapes forming where there had been nothing. Not ships entering from far away. Ships unfolding from the dark itself. Slow, patient, and silent. The human on the screen spoke one last sentence, quiet and urgent. "Now you will hear why the galaxy goes silent." Then every light on the human warship went out, even the white eye, and the darkness in front of the Dominion line began to move like it was alive. The darkness in front of the Dominion line did not look like normal space anymore. It looked thicker, like a deep ocean at night. Stars behind it seemed to fade, not because clouds existed in space, but because something was covering the light. Sen stared at the sensor board and whispered, "They are not moving in from outside. They are already here." Captain Varek felt his hands go cold. He had faced pirates, storms, and rebels. But this felt like facing a rule of nature. Something that did not care about pride or flags. The Dominion fleet kept firing wide bursts into the dark. Their weapons made bright scars. But each scar ended early, like the light got tired and quit. Then the burst lines began to bend, not like reflection, but like fear. Even beams looked unsure of their path. A Dominion frigate at the front suddenly went quiet. Its engine tail died, its lights died, its signal died. It did not explode. It did not break apart. It simply stopped being a ship in the way ships should be. It became a black shape drifting, empty and wrong. The Dominion commander shouted on open broadcast. "Report, report." No one answered. Another Dominion ship went dark. Then another. Not in flames, not with noise. Just silence eating them one by one. On Varek's bridge, someone made a small sound, a short breath. And the human on the screen reacted instantly. His eyes shifted to the side like he was listening to a tiny change. "Keep your ship quiet," the human said. "Not just weapons. Everything. Do not push power. Do not flood space with signals." Varek leaned forward, keeping his voice low. "What are they?" he asked. The human's face stayed calm, but his jaw tightened. "Hunters," he said. "They do not hunt heat. They do not hunt light. They hunt change." He paused, then added, "They hunt attention." Varek did not like that word. Attention was not a thing you could measure. But in the dead zone, nothing felt normal. Sen spoke again, voice shaking. "Captain, the hunters are forming shapes," he said. "They look like ships, but the edges are wrong. They are too smooth, like shadows cut from paper." On the main screen, Varek saw it. Dark forms slid out of darker space. Long, thin, and silent. No engine glare, no running lights, no broadcast. They moved with patient speed. Not rushing like fighters. Not stopping like guards. Just coming, like time itself. The Dominion commander's voice rose into panic. "All ships, full power. Break the line. Burn through." Dominion engines flared bright. Their ships tried to accelerate. But the moment they pushed power, more hunter shapes turned toward them. Like dogs hearing a whistle. A Dominion cruiser tried to jump. Its jump field began to form, a bright ring of energy. The ring flickered. Then collapsed into a tight point. Then the ship went dark. No blast, no scream. Gone from the map. Varek's throat tightened because it looked exactly like his missing scout ship. The human officer spoke again, faster now. This zone was built as a lock, he said. When they enter, it steals their options. But the lock only works if the bait stays calm. Varek narrowed his eyes. Bait, he repeated. The human did not deny it. Yes, he said. My ship is the bait. We sit quiet. We let them come close. We close the lock. Varek felt anger, but he held it down. You pulled us into it, he said. The human's eyes showed something like regret, but only for a blink. You came anyway, he replied. And you did not understand the rules here. If you ran first, the Dominion would still come. They would scream with power. And then the hunters would follow them into open space. That image hit Varek hard. Hunters leaving the dead zone, following loud fleets to living worlds. He saw cities going silent. Trade lanes turning into empty lines on maps. No wrecks, no warnings, just missing. Sen pointed at the sensor screen, hands trembling. Captain, the hunters are surrounding the Dominion Lance ship, he said. The one charging the sector Lance. Varek looked. The Dominion's heavy weapon ship still tried to build its charge. But the charge kept wobbling like a flame in wind. Dark shapes slid around it, close enough to touch. The Dominion ship fired point defense wildly. Its guns flashed fast like panic. Then its lights flickered. Then went out. The sector Lance charge died mid-build. The stored power had nowhere to go. For one breath, Varek expected an explosion. But there was no boom. No flash. Only a soft white mist-like shimmer, like energy turning into nothing. Then the Dominion ship drifted, dead. A quiet horror spread through Varek's bridge. The Dominion was powerful, loud, proud. And it was being erased like chalk from stone. The human officer lowered his voice, almost a whisper. Do you understand now, he said. When the galaxy goes silent. It is not fear. It is survival. Varek swallowed. What do we do? He asked. The human looked past the camera, like he was watching his own crew. We hold quiet, he said. We let the Dominion be the noise. We let the hunters feed on them. And when the hunters are close enough, we close the lock. Varek did not like using anyone as a shield, even the Dominion. But he saw the truth. The Dominion was making noise by choice. And that noise was calling death. A Dominion destroyer broke formation and rushed toward the human warship. Its engines flared like a torch. Its captain screamed a message. You will not hide behind tricks. You will die with us. The destroyer fired a full spread of missiles. Dozens of bright dots, fast and angry. They raced toward the human warship. For the first time, the human warship did something that looked like a warning. A wide, thin ripple moved outward from its hull. Not light, not sound, a clean ripple. The missiles stopped, all at once. They hung in space like frozen insects. Then each missile went dark. Not exploding. Just ending. The Dominion destroyer hesitated. Its engines flared harder, trying to ram. The moment it pushed harder, 3 hunter shapes turned toward it. They moved with sudden speed. Not a dash, not a jump. More like space folded under them. The destroyer's lights died in a blink. Then its hull faded. Not destroyed, not broken. Just removed. It left a clean gap where ship had been. Varek's crew stared at the gap like it was a wound in reality. A young officer whispered, "They erase." Varek did not correct him. Because it felt like erasing. Then Sen spoke again, voice sharp with fear. "Captain, some hunters are turning toward us," he said. "They are noticing our small signals." Varek's stomach dropped. Even quiet was still a kind of noise. Even a heartbeat inside a ship was power moving. He turned to engineering. "Lower output," he ordered. "Cut everything you can. No extra lights, no extra scans, no internal chatter." The bridge dimmed. Fans slowed. Screens reduced brightness. Even the air felt heavier. Varek could hear his own breath, and he hated that he could hear it. The human officer nodded once. Good, he said. Now, listen. We need one brave thing. Varek's eyes narrowed. What? The human's voice stayed soft, but the words hit like a blade. We must make a loud sound on purpose, he said. A controlled sound. A single scream. To pull them to the lock point. Varek stared. You just said silence keeps us alive. Yes, the human said. And controlled noise saves others. He paused, then added. My ship can take it. Varek felt the trap closing in his mind. He saw the plan. The human warship was bait. The Dominion was noise. The hunters were the blade. And the lock was the cage. Sen pointed again, eyes wide. Captain, the hunters are forming a ring around the human warship, he said. They are close. Too close. On the main screen, the black shapes drifted near the human hull. Like sharks circling a silent boat. The human ship stayed dark, no lights at all now. A dead stone in space. The human officer leaned closer to the camera. If I give the signal, you will broadcast one short burst on my mark, he said. One burst only. Then you go dead quiet again. That burst will be the hook. It will pull them into the lock field. Varek's mouth went dry. If he made that burst, he might sign his own death. If he did not, he might sign many deaths later. He looked at his crew. They were afraid, but they were still there. He gave a slow, small nod. Tell me when, he said. The human officer's eyes hardened. Now, he whispered. And at that exact moment, the stars behind the nearest hunter shape blinked out, like someone had turned off the sky, and Varek realized the hunters were no longer just circling, they were opening, like a mouth. The nearest hunter shape did not rush like a fighter ship, it opened like a mouth, slow at first, then wider, as if space itself was peeling back. Stars behind it went dim, then vanished, not covered, not blocked, just removed from sight. Captain Varek felt his stomach tighten, because his eyes could still see the black shape, but his mind could not accept what it was doing. It was not flying through space, it was changing space. Burst now, the human officer repeated, very low, very calm. One pulse. Varek lifted 2 fingers, a quiet signal to his comm officer. The comm officer's hand hovered over the control like it was hot. Then he pressed. A single short broadcast jumped out from Varek's ship, one clean spike, loud compared to the silence around them. It was nothing special, no message, no words, just a sharp hear. The effect was instant. The hunter shapes turned, all of them, like one creature hearing a sound. Their smooth edges tightened, their forms became sharper. Then they moved, fast, not with engine trails, not with light. They slid like knives across black water, straight toward the source of the burst. Varek's bridge went dead quiet. No extra screens, no side chatter, no alarms spoken aloud. Only the soft tick of systems trying not to breathe. The hunters closed the gap, and Varek understood something terrifying. They were not angry, they were hungry. They were not aiming at metal, they were aiming at the change, at the signal, at the life inside the ships. The human warship stayed dark, no lights at all. But its position shifted a little, placing itself between the hunters and Varek's fleet. Like a shield that did not want credit. The Dominion fleet was still screaming with power. Engines flared, weapons fired, commands shouted on open band. And that noise pulled more hunters to them too. Dominion ships began to vanish in clean cuts, one after another. Not blown apart, just gone, leaving empty marks on the sensor map. Sen whispered, Captain, look at the vanished ships. Varek leaned closer to the sensor display. Instead of debris trails, there were small cold holes, like tiny dead circles. The holes did not move. They stayed fixed, as if something had pinned those ships in place, outside normal space. The human officer spoke again, and his voice sounded different now, more urgent but still controlled. They are not destroying them, he said. They are storing them. Like fish in a net. If we close the lock right, some can be pulled back. Varek's eyes widened. Our missing scout, he said. It might be alive. The human gave a small nod. Possible, he said. But only if we do this fast. That one line changed everything on Varek's bridge. Fear was still there, but now hope was mixed inside it, sharp and painful. Hope made people brave, and also careless. Varek forced his voice to stay low. "What is the lock?" he asked. The human officer looked past the camera, like he was watching a timer only he could see. "Humans built a quiet cage here," he said. "A field that folds their paths into one place. When it triggers, it makes a single door. And we slam that door shut." Sen's hands moved fast over the board, careful, gentle. "Captain, hunters are at the edge of the human ship," he whispered. "They are touching the hull." On the main screen, black shapes drifted so close they almost merged with the human warship's dark surface. It looked like shadows crawling over a mountain. The human ship did not fire. It did not flash shields. It did not run. It just endured. Then, for the first time, Varek saw a sign of strain. A thin white line appeared across the human hull, like a crack of frost. It glowed for half a second, then faded. Not an explosion, more like a deep breath forced through teeth. The human officer spoke one short command, not to Varek, but to someone on his side. "Anchor on," he said. A low vibration ran through Varek's ship. Not a physical shake, more like a pressure in the bones. Sen gasped. "Captain, space around the human ship is changing," he said. "It is pulling lines. It is bending roots." On the sensor map, hunter shapes that were moving in smooth curves began to drift into one shared path, like water draining into a sink. Even Dominion ships that tried to flee were being guided, gently but firmly, toward the same point. Toward the human warship. The Dominion commander finally understood they were being herded. His voice exploded over open broadcast, full of rage. "No," he shouted. "Do not trap us. All ships, overload reactors, break the field." Dominion ships pushed power hard, too hard. Engine tails burned brighter, shields flared, weapons charged at unsafe levels. That loud power made the hunters twitch and rush faster. More Dominion ships went dark. More vanished. The Dominion fleet was eating itself with panic. Varek kept his fleet quiet, but he could feel his crew shaking inside their seats. Silence was not comfort anymore. It was a test. The human officer leaned closer to the camera, his eyes steady. "Second burst," he said. "On my mark. This one will pull the last wave." Varek stared. "You said one," he whispered. The human's jaw tightened. "One was the hook," he said. "This is the line. If we do not pull them fully into the lock, they will spill out later." Varek hated that word, spill. He looked at the dead circles on the sensor map, the places where ships had been taken. He imagined his lost crew, trapped in quiet, waiting without time. If there was a chance, even a small chance, he could not waste it. "Do it," Varek said, voice low. "Mark." The human officer held up one finger. He waited. The hunters around the human ship began to tighten their ring. The black shapes moved closer, like a throat closing. The human ship's thin frost line appeared again, brighter this time. It ran down the hull like white veins, then vanished. Varek felt fear spike, because the human ship was holding something back, and it was hurting. "Now," the human said, very softly. Varek gave the signal. The comm officer sent the second burst, short and sharp. All at once, the hunter shapes surged. Not only toward Varek's fleet, but toward the center point the human ship had made. They moved as if pulled by a rope. Even the dark holes on the map trembled, like trapped things reacting to a call. Sen whispered, "Captain, the holes are aligning. They are forming a pattern." On the main display, the dead circles shifted into a ring around the human warship, like beads sliding into place. Varek's breath caught. It looked like a gate. The human officer's eyes widened for the first time, just a little. "It's working," he said. "Door forming." Then the Dominion commander made a final, desperate move. He screamed one last order. "Self-burn. Break the cage, A Dominion capital ship, half surrounded by hunters, began to overload. Its reactor glow rose fast, too fast. That kind of blast would not just kill one ship, it could rip the lock field apart. It could punch a hole in the cage while it was closing. The human officer's calm cracked into hard urgency. "Captain Varek," he said, "we can seal the lock. Or we can try to pull your missing ship back. We cannot do both." Varek froze, because the choice was cruel and perfect. Save a trapped crew now, or save countless lives later by sealing the hunters in. On the sensor map, the gate pattern shimmered like it was almost solid, and the Dominion reactor glow rose like a sun being born. Varek opened his mouth to speak. But before he could answer, the stars behind the forming gate blinked out again, wider this time, like the sky itself was being erased, and a new shape started to come through that darkness, larger than any hunter they had seen, slow, patient, and awake.